Hello, thank you for opening up this advisory committee training tool. This is meant to be an abbreviated version from the full toolkit found at OCTE under Toolkits, Advisory Committee Meetings. Advisory committee meetings are meant to be a great tool for a program that is Career Tech Ed in a high school. So excited to give you an overview and really show how this can work in your benefit. I do want to point out that on an advisory committee, the majority of members have to be from business and industry. And what this looks like is usually 7 to 10 people total on advisory committee. So the required type of members, or besides business and industry, are a special population representative, that oftentimes is the counselor from your school, but it doesn't have to be. Someone representing special populations as it relates to Career Tech Ed. Another required member is a parent. A question that often gets asked, does it need to be a parent of a current student? The answer is no, but that is preferred. It can be anyone acting in the capacity from the parent lens. And then the other required type of member is a person from a college or university, so a post-secondary representative. So the majority need to be from business and industry, and if there's those three other types of representatives from parent, special populations, and post-secondary, then that means there needs to be at least 4 from business and industry, making your committee 7 or more. So you can have more, but the minimum amount on a committee would be 7. At the meetings also should be the instructor, of course, as well as the program administrator, CTE administrator, and then student representative, always a great idea, and then anyone else that's a stakeholder is always nice to have at the meetings as well. The advisory committee role is meant to be the bridge between school and industry. Again, this is an exciting connection for students and often can work really well for the instructors when done well, because they have a partner in delivery of content, they have a partner in connections and work-based learning training, and just a really great resource. Advisory committees provide input, again, don't necessarily make the final decision, but are providing input in planning and development of the program and the direction that it goes, some of the business and industry standards and how they're implemented, and employability skills. They can help do mock interviews and all kinds of different ideas to really encourage and prepare students as they enter their career. And they can also even do evaluation of technical skills when applicable. Credentials are a part of the conversation now for Career Tech Ed, and having input from business and industry is great in that area as well. The committee chairperson role is to serve as a spokesperson for the program advisory committee, and it has to be from business and industry. The duties of the chairperson then are to communicate at least before the 2 advisory meetings in a school year with the teacher to make sure that they stay in front and aware of the different program needs and conversations that the instructor needs to have. So this usually works out well to meet ahead of time with the instructor and talk about the agenda that the instructor has populated and recommend anything else that needs to be on there. The chairperson presides at the committee meetings. They facilitate and give members the opportunity to express their opinions and give advice, make recommendations, but they are the one that moves the meeting along. It is not the instructor or the administrator, it is the chairperson that presides at the meeting. When needed, of course, provide input or serve as a spokesperson as applicable. Again, they don't have to be the person that populates the agenda, but they are the person that moves the agenda along in the actual meeting. The CTE administrator role is to really be an advocate for the program. So whether this looks like making sure advisory members are welcomed on the days that they're coming in as guests, whether it be on the meeting days or whether it be as a speaker or so forth, they help facilitate security and just stay connected with the program and know how to encourage the teacher. The duties of an administrator are to make sure that the communication stays at the forefront. Again, thanking and recognizing the participants of the advisory committee whenever possible. They work with the instructors to really stay in connection with the program. The CTE program instructor duties look a little bit longer, but it's really the boots on the ground and what they're doing in the classroom with kids that provide the opportunities to have the discussion for the advisory committee. Some great things that the instructor can do in making sure that the advisory committee stays connected and engaged, not just during the meetings themselves, but all throughout the year, is to review inventory occasionally. So this could look like the instructor providing an inventory list to the advisory committee ahead of time, knowing that it will be a topic of discussion, and then saying, hey, what did my inventory lack? What was I missing that would be necessary for my program and for this industry? Or what is outdated? What needs to be replaced? Or what might need to be available in the future for students in this industry? And then the advisory can help make those connections. Maybe they get bids on equipment for you. Maybe they make recommendations, one brand over another. It can be really, really relevant when you're talking about technical skills and staying current in industry. Another thing that the program instructor can encourage as conversation with the advisory committee is work-based learning connections. So work-based learning building up to training at first looks like awareness. This could be a guest coming in from the advisory committee and doing an awareness talk. Like, these are some of the pathways that we have inside of our company. This is my story and how I got there. And really connecting with kids on that level, providing pathway talks. So it just really provides connections for the students. I would encourage you during your meeting then to have the people at the meeting say how they can and are willing to be involved in the classroom throughout the year. The considerations of the process for the advisory committee are just to really understand that this is communication of goals and just understanding that a lot of the planning would be for the future year and then the steps to take to make that come to fruition. But it's great to have the advisory committee for brainstorming and planning development. There is an advisory agenda provided in the toolkit that the state of Michigan does encourage to follow for all state-approved programs in Career Tech Ed. The two sections that may not be applicable are the early middle college. So everything else you would want as part of your agenda. Note that you don't have to cover every topic in detail at each meeting, but you do need to cover every topic in a school year. So in the fall, this is an example of what it could look like for your fall agenda, remembering the curriculum updates that are going to be in place this year and maybe looking forward to what you would want to change for the following. And then this is an example of the spring agenda. Again, keeping all of the agenda items on there, but some may be touch points where you have the data entered, but it's not something that you necessarily spend time talking through at that specific meeting. So meeting best practices are to have students present on their highlights, pathway selection, etc. So have students talk, give them a rubric to follow and how to share where they're at and where they're going. For planning of the meeting itself, use a doodle poll or similar polling tool to find a meeting time and do it way ahead of time. So best practice would be in the spring to plan for the fall, to have that save the date and then to communicate it often. So beginning of the school year, hey, we're meeting on October 4th at this time in this place. Remember to have your calendars marked. And then at the end of September, email again, week of email, and the day before email or communicate. And look forward to seeing you there. A lot of times this question comes in is, are we allowed to do a virtual meeting? And it is strongly encouraged to do an in-person meeting, not a virtual meeting. The idea being that they can see the lab and it's a lot easier to have a conversation in person than virtually. So it is strongly encouraged to do an in-person meeting whenever possible. Here's some school data sources My School Data is a great resource. Note that one of the topics that the state is looking for is results from core performance indicators and what might be done to change core performance indicators that are not in the range that the state is looking for. Core performance indicators include things like four-year graduation rate, test scores, academic proficiency in the different areas. It also includes things like job placement after high school. This is done through Career Tech Ed follow-up surveys where the question gets asked to every student after they leave high school, how often do you use the skills that you were taught when you're in the program? So that's one of the key things. What is the core performance from your program saying, and what things can be improved and how can we improve them?